Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relax Radio, and I'm super excited to be here because we're having a lot of interesting and important conversation. However, this is the final hour of the show, and the time is exactly 8:17 a.m. here in England, in London, England. And so, like I said, I'm very excited to be here. So don't actually forget to be a part of the show, and don't forget to share your thoughts and opinions with me because I would love to hear what you have to say as well. All right. And before we actually head into the conversation, I want to very quickly talk to you, or rather very quickly tell you that you can be a part of the show if you text me or call me on 078 You can share your thoughts, you can share your opinions with me, and that will be absolutely amazing as well. All right, because what that means is that you can actually share your thoughts and share your opinions with me, and you can let me know what you feel about what we are talking about. And don't actually forget to go follow us on our socials, because that way you can actually make sure that you are always informed and updated about the very latest that we talk about. If you are interested, or if you want to be informed about the very latest news updates, then the best place for you to do that is actually our social media pages. All right, now you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and that way you can actually make sure that you're always informed about the very latest news updates. So make sure to turn on your notifications, so every time we're talking about something new, something that is very important as well, you will always be notified. All right. And don't forget to download our app either, because that is available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. That way you can make sure you listen in from any device from anywhere in the world. All right. And now let's actually very quickly talk about long COVID, and let's talk about this attempt to understand long COVID. Now, what exactly do you think long COVID is? What are your thoughts on it? Please don't be afraid. Don't be shy to share it with me, because a lot of people here in the United Kingdom actually are going through long COVID. All right. So don't actually forget to share your thoughts and share your opinions with us as well, because I would love to hear what you have to say with regard to long COVID and understanding long COVID. If you suffered from it, please do share your experience with me, so we can make sure that everyone else is listening in as well, is aware of the struggle that they have to go through, and that they can understand and help themselves and help their friends if they are going through if they're going through symptoms of long COVID as well. All right, so now let's actually head into our conversation. Now, what exactly is long COVID? What are its symptoms? How do we make sense of it? And why is it so hard for people to believe that even younger people can actually have COVID? Now, more than 100,000 people here in Britain under the age of 25 have actually endured months and months of debilitating symptoms of long COVID, right? And more often than not, what actually happens is that a lot of doctors struggle to help, and others also fail to understand and even take them seriously, right? Because they believe that if you're young, or if you're not old, basically if you're young, that you possibly cannot get COVID. And that is in fact a big problem, because if you because a lot of these young people who are struggling from long COVID, when they try and tell their parents or their teachers about the fact that they have long COVID, the teachers and parents are often look at them in disbelief and say, look, you possibly can't get long COVID. It's mostly, it's just older people get it, right? However, that's not the truth, because recent research has actually found that young people can actually get COVID, or rather long COVID, right? So, what exactly is long COVID, and how do we understand what long COVID is like? All right, now, the thing is, it's very hard to define long COVID, because there's a huge amount of symptoms with regard to long COVID. So, more often than not, to people actually find it hard to describe what exactly they feel is long COVID, because different people have different symptoms. But more commonly, there are things like being tired all the time, having headaches, feeling lethargic, feeling like you don't have any energy, and even things like that loss of taste and smell that you get when you COVID, that might actually continue, or that might actually go on until and that might actually go on with long COVID as well. So that's actually one of the biggest problems, because I'm actually going to tell you the story of this girl called Nia, who was very, very, she was physically very active, right? She used to go swimming, she used to go to the gym, she swam competitively, and she was like really fit and healthy, basically the epitome of being fit. However, she basically got COVID during Freshers Week, and then ever since she got COVID and she got cured, she got long COVID, right? So she found it hard to wake up in the morning. And even when she woke up in the morning, she was overwhelmed, and she felt so overwhelmed by her tiredness. And she felt like she had been hit by a train, or she'd even run a marathon, right? And she would have chest pains and palpitations, and she would sometimes she would even gasp for breath, right? And then when she went and got diagnosed, her doctor said that long COVID or rather COVID had resulted in her having this heart condition. So that's just how bad, or that's just how scary it is. And the truth is, there isn't actually enough information, or there isn't enough research that has been conducted to long COVID, because to be quite honest, we're still struggling with COVID, right? So because there isn't enough research and enough information about long COVID, people are actually struggling so much to get help, and even to they're struggling so much to get help, and they're also struggling so much to get some form of cure for it, because that hasn't been found yet as well. Now make sure you stay tuned, because we're going to head into a small break, and after that we will be back to keep talking more about this. So until then, make sure you stay tuned.
Cycling in London is not child's play. How to be a better cyclist. Listen to my show, only on Relax Radio. I'm Kevin. Join me every Thursday, 5 p.m. Look forward to seeing you.
Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relax Radio, and I am super, super excited to be here because we're having a very important and even interesting conversation, if I put it that way, about long COVID, about the effects of long COVID and how it's actually affecting a lot of people all over the United Kingdom. All right. So if you want to share your thoughts, if you want to share your opinions with me, please do go ahead. I would love to hear what you have to say, and I would love to hear I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this as well. So don't forget to share them with me. All right. Now, before we actually head into our conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that you can, in fact, get in touch with me. All you need to do is share your thoughts and share your opinions with me by texting or calling me on 078 All right. Don't forget to share your thoughts. Don't forget to share your opinions because that is going to be absolutely amazing as well. And something else that you need to keep in mind, or something else that you can actually do, is to go follow us on our socials. Now, if you like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, then that will actually keep you updated with the very latest content or the very latest news about what happens all over the world. All right, so don't forget to do that. And obviously, something else that you can do is subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, because that will definitely help not just you but everyone else that you hang out with, your friends and family, to be updated, because y'all can listen into the conversation from anywhere in the world at any time of the day from any device. All right. So it's absolutely amazing as well. So don't forget to do that. Now, however, we need to head back into a conversation about, long COVID, suffering from long COVID, and making sure that you are safer from long COVID as well. All right, so let's actually head into our conversation now. A recent study that was conducted actually showed that a lot of people, a lot more than you think, actually have long COVID, and a lot of them are actually much, much younger children. All right, because the truth is, people tend to think that when it comes to long COVID, only older people are susceptible to it. Only older people can get long COVID. However, that's really not the case, right? Because this story, this Nia that I was telling you about, who happens to be one of the one of the children who are under 25, or one of the people under 25 living with long COVID. According to some research that was conducted, there is an estimated 106,000 people who are under 25 who are also living with long COVID in the United Kingdom, right? And out of all of these young people, 72,000 are between the ages of 17 to 24, and 34,000 of them are under the age of 16. All right. Now, long COVID is in fact a condition that generally affects older people and people with other existing conditions. However, even though that's the case, there are people, or there are teens and children that can and have in fact become ill because of long COVID, right? So, a recent study that was conducted by King's College London actually found that 1 in 50 children with symptomatic COVID actually had symptoms lasting more than 8 weeks, right? And most of the common symptoms that were there were in fact headaches, tiredness, sore throat, and even the loss of smell, right? And I can't even begin to imagine what's it like to live with long COVID, right? Because imagine you get COVID, and COVID in itself is very painful, and it is a disease that is very, very dangerous and scary as well. So the after effects of having COVID is sometimes long COVID, and that can be much, much more, that can be much, much more stressful, because obviously we're talking about having these symptoms for a really long time, right? And these are not just a few weeks, these are months and months and months on end of this sickness. So it's in fact very, very scary. Now, something that a lot of people have, like I said, is this idea that younger children can't get COVID, right? And because of that, they tend to not sympathize with these children who have long COVID. They tend to, not offer any advice or any help for these children who have long COVID. And even among other children, they also tend to have these same ideas as well. Look, you know what? If someone my age probably can't even get long COVID, because it's something that older people get, that adults get, right? And that is in fact a very, very That's in fact a very, very terrible attitude and perspective to have towards something like COVID, right? Especially long COVID, especially because there's not enough information with regard to long COVID and how exactly that works. All right. Now, make sure you stay tuned because we're going to head into a small break. And after that, we will be back for more conversation right here on the Sunrise. So until then, make sure you stay tuned.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important, because when you're looking at your net worth, you've got to start with saying, well, what do I want my net worth to be, so that there's a goal, and then work backwards. How do I get there? And if I can start with £50 or $50 a week, if I save that every week, and you can go online and use calculators online. I don't have to teach you the maths behind it, but you can say, okay, and if I get a 3%